All right, welcome to the rundown. I'm going to be going over a few NFL topics, and I thought I'd start off with Micah Parsons and his contract situation. And this has been something that's been brewing for about a week, and it all started when about a week ago, Jerry Jones said, "Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him." He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously, contracts are 4 or 5 years, okay? There's a lot of water under the bridge if you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3. You can get hit by a car, seriously. So there's a lot to look at over a lot of years that can make a big difference. Have you ever heard of any clubs committing to players and then they didn't pan out after they committed to them? We have. And then today or yesterday in training camp, like there were fans cheering, pay Micah, and Stephen Jones said, it doesn't change anything. We want to pay Micah too. He's got to want to be paid too. One thing you can always rely upon for the Cowboys for is good drama. And I just hate this for Micah. I think it's ridiculous that Jerry Jones is bringing up his injury history when Micah Parsons, for the good part of his career, has been pretty durable. I mean, he played 16 games his rookie year in the 2021 season, 17 in 2022, and 2023 he played 17 and 13 in 2024. So it's ridiculous. I mean, he's only missed like about 5 games in his career total. And I mean, to bring up the man's injury history as of like, he plays 8, 9 games every year is pretty ridiculous. And to do this to your franchise player and the best player on your team, I mean, out of all the players on the Cowboys, I think Micah Parsons has a good chance of making the Hall of Fame. And just to disrespect him like that is crazy. I just don't understand why you would do it. I know Jerry Jones likes to pay players until he has to. He doesn't like to do things early for some reason. I mean, he strung it out until the end with Dak and CD, and I guess he's going to do the same with Micah. I mean, with Dak and CD, it's pretty debatable like where they're at in the league. It's debatable whether Dak is a top 10 quarterback. I mean, I think CD is probably a top 10 wide receiver, but he's probably in the lower end of that for sure. But Micah, he's like a definitive superstar. And like I said, a franchise player, the best player on the Cowboys. Not saying that he should get paid higher than Dak, but still the best player on the Cowboys. And just to kind of just brush him off like that, like, who knows what the hell is going to happen. I know Jerry has done like bad deals in the past, and he's probably not happy about the deal he had to make with Dak Prescott and him getting injured last year and only playing about 8 games. And honestly, probably not really living up to his contract. But I mean, Micah's not that type of dude. I mean, Micah's a definitive superstar. TJ Watt got a 3-year, $123 million deal, 108 guaranteed. And while it's arguable who's better, TJ or Micah, I mean, Micah is 4 years younger than TJ and probably has a longer runway than TJ. So I don't see why you wouldn't pay him. I mean, that's what the market has been set. And if TJ is getting that, then Micah probably wants that also. And he's probably looking at all the other players in his draft class, or his agent is telling him. I mean, Rashawn Slater has gotten paid. Penei Sewell has gotten paid. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, other than that 2022 season, he honestly hasn't been that good. But nonetheless, he's gotten paid. And Micah's going into his 5th year, and he's probably looking around thinking like, all those other dudes have been taken care of, and I'm probably the best player in that draft class, and I haven't been taken care of yet, and it's ridiculous. And JJ Watt tweeted something out. He says, anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. So, and Michael retweeted that, so he's probably pretty pissed off. But honestly, I think if the Cowboys pay him his money, it will all go away. I mean, I don't know how his relationship is with Jerry and Stephen Jones, but I think one of the things that Michael loves is just being a cowboy. I mean, he wears that big ass cowboy hat. I think he loves the glitz and glamour and the hoopla that comes with being a cowboy. So I think like when you weigh all of that in, I think he's going to want to stay even if he has gotten a little bit disrespected, because he just loves the Cowboys and he just loves what comes with it. And Jerry is going to pay him sooner rather than later at this point. I mean, like I said before, he strung it out with Dak and CD, and Micah is a better player than both of them. And Jerry knows that. he can't lose a player of Micah Parsons' caliber. And Jerry Jones has a history of doing this. He did it with Emmitt Smith in the 90s, right after they won the Super Bowl, and Emmitt Smith had to hold out a couple of games before he got his contract. So Jerry Jones does this. He pays up his good players when he has to, and Micah's a great player, a All Pro player, and he's going to pay him his contract. So I'm not worried about that. It just stinks how Jerry Jones is kind of like getting a little bit disrespectful at this point. But hey, I guess that comes with old age. When people get older, they just say what's on their mind and they don't care at certain points about like how what they say is going to affect certain people. I mean, Pat Riley, you see him like how he turned off Jimmy Butler with some of his comments. So that's something that you got to watch out for. And plus, I just think that Jerry Jones is kind of losing it a little bit, but just based on how he handled the Cowboy struggles last year. But nonetheless, Micah will get paid, and I think he'll probably get slightly higher than T.J. Watt. Now, I want to talk about the Cleveland Browns. Dan Graziano from ESPN, he did a little story on like some of the teams and their quarterback situations, and how they're fighting it out, and which quarterback will start for certain teams. He did it for the Browns, he did it for the Colts, and I want to talk about the Browns because I think they have like the most interesting QB situation. I mean, they have four guys who legitimately have a shot of winning the starting job in Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and of course Kenny Pickett. And Dylan and Shedeur are rookies. Dylan, third round pick, and Shedeur, a fifth round pick. And he basically talked about how while all of them have a chance of winning the starting job, the Browns are having a tough time distributing like reps and seeing, who's the better quarterback. And Graziano predicted that Kenny Pickett will probably win the starting job because the Browns like fought so hard to get him. But I don't know. I just think they're going to go with old, reliable Joe Flacco. I mean, Kenny Pickett suffered a hamstring injury, and there's not really a timeline on how long he'll be out, and Joe Flacco is probably going to get the first team reps, and he knows the offense pretty well. I mean, he handled the Browns' regular season situation pretty well in 2023 when Deshaun went out and ran the offense better than he did, honestly, and he got them to the playoffs. And, he's 40 years old, but I still think that he still has some juice left in him to, be a starter in the NFL, especially on a team like the Browns, which is a team that he knows so well. And I think Kenny Pickett definitely has a shot of, starting at some point during the regular season if Flacco for some reason stinks it up. I mean, I don't think the Browns will hesitate on pulling the plug on him if he has like a 2, 3, 4 game stretch where he just stinks, kind of like what the Falcons did last year with Kirk. And I think he's probably going to be the backup second to Joe Flacco if Flacco somehow stinks it up. But I think Flacco will be the starter for sure. With Dylan and Shedeur, I mean, Dylan Gabriel is 5'11". I just don't see him being a long-term starter. I just think with his height, it's just going to be hard for him to start a certain amount of games. I think he's probably best as a backup. In Shedeur, I just don't think he's a high-end talent. He just doesn't have the athleticism or the arm. I mean, from what I've heard, he's a pretty smart guy, but I just think you need to have those things in order to be a quality starter in the NFL, and I just don't think he has the high-end talent to overtake someone like a Joe Flacco or a Kenny Pickett, but who knows? I may be wrong, and fans are certainly going to be clamoring for him to start if like Flacco or Pickett stinks it up because of his name and his recognition from college, and with Deion Sanders being his dad. But overall, I think probably what's going to happen is Flacco's going to start, and if he stinks it up or if he gets injured, Kenny Pickett will be the backup, and that's how that situation is going to go. I mean, Dan Graziano knows more than me, and he's more connected than me, but I just think at this point they're probably going to go with Joe Flacco, but we'll see. Now, another team that I wanted to talk about in the NFC is the Washington Commanders. It was reported that Terry McLaurin is returning back to training camp, and he's holding in, which basically means that he's showing up to training camp, but he's not going to participate in any of the activities so that he doesn't get fined as much money. And I really like it for Washington. I really like their team this year. It's unfortunate with Terry. He's on a final year of a 3-year, $68 million deal, and I hope that the Commanders pay him soon because I think it could really be a good core with like him and Debo. And I know that he's on his final year and he's going to be on the team, but it's just never a good idea to just delay paying wide receivers because they can be a little bit diva-ish. Now, I don't doubt that Terry's a professional and everything, but that's just how it goes. When you just don't pay guys and they don't feel like you have their back and they don't get the extensions that they want, they get a little bit disgruntled and it can just like ruin team chemistry. And if the season isn't going as well, they're not going to go above and beyond to make things work. I mean, we've just seen that throughout NFL history. So I hope that the Commanders do right and do pay him because he's been a consummate professional. I mean, having to deal with so many quarterback changes and just having to go through so many losing seasons and then finally getting a franchise quarterback and him like, being happy. I hope that they do right by him and they pay him. And I really think that Washington can take the next step this year. I mean, they've made some big signings. They traded for Von Miller and Laramie Tunzel, and they got Jonathan Jones, and they got Dietrich Wise to shore up the defense. And I think with those signings, they can absolutely take another step. I mean, nobody predicted them making the NFC Championship last year, and I think with those signings, they can absolutely contend for a Super Bowl. I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, the only thing is the division rival with Philadelphia. I mean, it's going to be tough to win that division with Philadelphia in it, but I think they certainly got a shot. But me personally, I'd probably predict Philadelphia winning that division because they're the reigning Super Bowl champs. Nothing significant has changed. They're brought back all their good players, so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't win the division. And even if Washington is like, the wild card, I don't see how that will hurt them in any way. I still think even them being a wild card, they can absolutely make a Super Bowl run. I think Detroit is probably going to be pretty good. Green Bay will probably be better. Jordan Love was injured for some games last season and was kind of working himself back, but I think Green Bay will be better. Chicago, I think they'll be better, but I think they're probably a year away from being playoff contenders. I mean, they've definitely improved the O-line. Weapons have definitely improved, but I just think they're a year away, and I think in year two with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, I think they'll definitely be better. So I think the only teams Washington really has to worry about is probably Philadelphia, Detroit, maybe Minnesota if J.J. McCarthy is any good, but we'll have to see about that. And the Rams are always going to be a good team under Sean McVay, but I think out of all those teams other than Philadelphia, they got the best roster. And yeah, with their new signings, I just think they're going to take the next leap and they're going to win like 12 to 14 games. But they have to make sure that they sign Terry McLaurin. And if they sign him, I really think they'll have a good shot of potentially winning it all. So I hope that they do that. And yeah, that's all I have for, my NFL thoughts for this Monday. I'll come back this Wednesday and I'll talk more about some other things in the NFL. And yeah, that's all I have for you. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much.